Hello my scrappy friends, it is day 25 of Christie's Beautiful Life's 30 Days of Sketches, and today we have a lovely sketch here from Alison Davies. This one is gorgeous. Thank you so much, Alison. I love this sketch, and it is fantastic for scraps. And if you've been following me, you'll know that I've been trying to use my scraps. So let's start delving into all those little strips that I have in my packet of In Full Bloom. We've used this several times during the month of 30 days sketches, and we're going to do a couple more pages yet with it. So I hope you enjoy In Full Bloom. Now, I did say this in the last layout that we did with the In Full Bloom. It's not available, guys. It's well loved, was sold out, and I do have one kit left, and if you have listened to the other video, you'll know what I plan to do with that one kit. Then hit the like, the subscribe and the follow button, and we will get to do a giveaway hopefully in the near future. I have matted these photos on some black cardstock. I've also gutted a black piece of cardstock, cut down a white piece of cardstock to 11.5 by 11.5, and popped a whole heap of those strips of paper onto the page. I'm going to continue finding a few scraps there that are about the right length, roundabouts. This film strip was in the leftovers. I do go and cut out of some scrap black a second piece so that I can make that film strip just a little bit longer. That die cut come from the In Full Bloom card making kit, and that was one scrap that was left in the bag. I'm now going to skip forward just a little bit to where I have blended all of the pieces and start layering them down. Just a little clip here about what I was doing. I was cutting some little flags in either end of them, but this was very boring and took a while, and I'm sure you don't want to sit there and watch me put every single little piece down. So you can see here I'm cutting, blending, and then we're going to take a big skip to where the majority of that is done. Do you guys like using up your scraps? Do you like getting the most out of what you have left? So here I have a piece that's not quite long enough, and I feel it's going to be a bit short, so I just cut it in half. I know it's going to be behind the photo, and I make the most of that piece of paper without having to cut another piece that's longer than that. So if you have scraps and they're behind photos, you can extend them really easily. Here you can see I've got that second film strip there, and I'm wondering whether I need it or not. I'm thinking it's a little bit heavy to the right hand side at the moment, and I do want to add a little bit more there, so I'm going to join these two strips together. I've cut them to roughly the length that I want, and then that will allow me to place some more bits on that left hand side and even things out. I do even it out even further a little bit later on. I cut this beautiful on my Cricut machine, and I did cut it 3 times, so that's going to allow me to layer that up, and we do that a little bit later. I've got these flowers left over from, I think it's day 22 that we stamped those ones out, and they were just, I'd thrown them back in the bag with the other papers, so they're there and ready to be used, so I'm popping them on the layout. Here I'm finding that that green's a little bit too long, so I've shortened it on that middle piece. I'm going to go in and shorten it also on this end piece, but I find that it's a little bit too heavy, so I don't want that weight of all that green over on that side. So I try putting it back here in a second, but ultimately I end up taking it back off again and cutting that piece a little bit thinner. This just means that the heavier part is in behind those photos, and it's not as bringing your eye as much over to that left, and it's also taking a little bit of weight off that left side and making it further from the edge, where I felt like I was I probably started a little bit too close to the right hand side, not the left, guys. And you can see there it's a little bit less weighted and a little bit shorter, so it's not like a big hard stop on the end. I did balance that out with another little piece over on the left side. I promise you I do know my left and right, although I do struggle obviously with it. And I'm going to tape that one down too. So this is pretty much the base, and what we have left now is a little bit of embellishing to do, and I am going to come in and do a little bit of stamping as well. So I'm trying to find a little home for that flower, and the couple of other leaves that are on there, and a quick cleanup I see. It was probably time for that. I'm adding some foam tape to the back of the photos, guys, so that's going to lift them off and give this page a little bit more dimension. I've done it on the right hand side as well, and in that middle I'm making sure that it's overlaying both the right and the left hand photo. I've left plenty of room when I put that foam tape on that I can pop these photos and other embellishments in behind there, and that it's not going to stop me from adding my embellishments behind. This flower, I cannot find a spot for it yet. I keep trying and trying, so I am going to make it a little bit smaller of a cluster, and then I finally find a little hole up there for that flower. Here, as I said before, I had the 3 different layers of this beautiful, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue them all together. And this does take a little bit of time and patience. You've got to pop that second layer on, and then you've got to kind of fiddle a little bit. I've taken most of that out for you because I don't think you wanted to watch while I fiddle with that for quite a few minutes. And I'm going to adhere that to the page. I also adhered a few of those flowers down, popping a bit of glue underneath so that it was all stuck down. I do find, I think somewhere in here I realized there's one little piece of paper I didn't tape down, and I'll have to deal with that one a little bit later. On the sticker sheet there's all these beautiful nicely colored flowers, but they're a nice muted color, so I'm going to bring a few of those in and just tuck them in and around those other clusters, bringing a little bit of color to those clusters of flowers, but I don't want them really in your face. So you'll find most of them that I pop on are sort of tucked either under or sort of up against the photos, so that they're not really bright and in your face, but they are a lovely muted color anyway, so they don't overtake it too much. I have this cute little banner sticker, and you'll see that one come on and off the page several times. It does find a home eventually, but I was sort of determined to get that on there. I loved how the yellow brought out the yellow in the photos. Here's that little piece that I didn't quite get on earlier. That tags back. I'm trying it, and trying it again. It does. I'm trying to put it everywhere. I put it to the side. I am pretty determined to get that on the page. I've got that dark photo film strip on the left hand side, and I kind of want to mirror that with something a little bit dark on the right hand side. So this is a zip strip on the sticker sheet, and I look at that and think that is going to work quite well. So I placed that down, and then I didn't like the fact that it wasn't straight and all those other pieces had little banners on it, so I'm going to go in and make that a little bannered end as well. Sometimes, you know, there's small things drive us crazy, and that was one of those things that didn't necessarily have to be cut. This is another little sticker that's on that sheet, and I punched a little hole at the top of it, and I was going to put some twine through it, and then I decided I'll tie a little bow and place that on to that little embellishment. I do believe it gets moved a little bit later on. I have just about exhausted what I can from this sheet, but I do find this one sticker that's left that says remember this, and a bit like that yellow banner one, I am determined to find a little spot for this because I did want to remember this occasion, and I'm moving it around, looking for a little spot, and it finally finds a little home just here underneath the beautiful. and I do have to unglue that, stick it in, and then re-glue down that beautiful afterwards. So a little bit of fiddling, but in the end it found a little home. Just re-gluing those bits down, making sure it's nice and straight. I love this T-ruler for making sure things are straight on there, because sometimes the eye can do a little bit of tricks. Now these die cuts I talked about before, these are the really heavy black cut die cuts, and I'm bringing the hearts with lots of different sizes of hearts in it and sprinkling them around the page, and I will adhere all of them. I do like the little heart that I popped over the eye to put the little dot on the eye in the beautiful, and I spread a few more around. Took me a while, obviously. And one just random little butterfly, guys. So I do cut out a bit here where I glue all those down, and this little bit I was trying to bring in a little bit of these black twigs, and I felt like it just detracted from the whole thing, so I popped them in, and then I think it didn't add anything. It was just for the sake of putting it on there, and it really didn't help add any detail or help the eye. It actually distracted from the photos and those clusters quite a lot. I did also cut out a lot of where you notice I put a couple of foam tapes in. I did that all around the page, guys, but again, you don't want to see me doing that for ages. Here I've got the stamp set that we used last time. It is the background elements that's in the new catalogue. I will flash up a little picture of that one, and I'm just sprinkling lots of little dots around. And if you've been following the page, I've done similar on the other layout as well. So I'm just basically making all of these pages as a one event nice and cohesive. I do also come in with the largest splatter. This one is from Perfectly Imperfect, and add a couple of those around as well. I'm looking at that top left hand corner, guys, and I want to build a tiny little cluster up there. I found a little home for that yellow banner, and I want to build something that goes underneath that, so the banner's not just sitting there on its own. So I'm just bringing in some little scraps and cutting them into little banners and popping them up the top there. So you can see I've got that little bag next to me that I'm rifling through, and I'm blending the edges so that they match all the other pieces in the page as well. Just get that one where I want them, and pop that yellow banner finally back over the top. I will come in with a Stanley knife and a ruler and just trim all those loose edges off there that are on off the edge, and remove those. Now I'm very close to finished, but if you know me, I do like a little bit of hand detail. So what I've done is I've popped a couple of little dots around, little tiny hearts and some dots, and then I am going to draw a border around on that white as well. But this is the last thing that I am adding to the page. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for watching the video. Please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, and all those things. It does help the channel grow and help support me. I appreciate every single one of those things that you do. Thanks guys for watching, and I will see you on the next one. Have a great day. Bye.